On the eastern leg, the 60 Scouts will head out from Bloomington, Illinois, recapping their journey through Ohio. The Scouts think corn yields will be down 6% from a year ago. The soybean crop, based on pod count, is up about 4%, but they quickly point out an increase in pod count from the tour does not guarantee a bigger yield. It all depends on the late season conditions. Eastern Tour Director Brian Grady says the route he took revealed a rough corn crop, a victim of the drought and heat.
Just a general comment about the crop that we've seen. A lot of it is yellow or brown and drying down. We're currently in a rainstorm, but the unfortunate part is the rain isn't going to help a lot of this crop that we're sampling so far today. We are in fields where the ears are already dropping.
One common theme to the eastern corn belt is crop variability. The Scouts say they saw that in Ohio and it continued into Indiana. That's one reason why field scouts on the Pro Farmer Tour go past the in-rows to gauge the crops. AgWeb's Greg Vinson is on the tour for us.
The story across Indiana this week has been the constant reminder that the corn crop may look good from the road, but it doesn't always look so good once you get in, and it is a reminder that you don't always want to hedge just based on what you see on the edge.
It's a beautiful ear, but it was on the end row, and that's the problem. And once you get inside, this is what we're finding. I mean, we're finding are obviously very short ears. They are pollinated all the way to the bottom, unlike what we saw in eastern Indiana yesterday, where there was a fair amount of ears that were not pollinated on the bottom.
Southeast of Indianapolis, near Morristown, some farmers there are concerned about how much of a crop they'll actually have left at the end of the year, and that's raising questions about their marketing plans for the coming year.
We were off about 15%, 10 to 15% a year ago, and I think we're going to be off another possibly 15 to 20% off of last year.
Really?
Yeah, it's not very good. I was telling you guys earlier, I farmed for 20 years, and this will be the first or the worst crop that I've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm. This will probably be the worst since '88. I don't know that it will be worse than '88, but of course the hybrids I think are better than they were then. So I'd just compare it to '88.
Iowa commodity broker Lou Aaron says there is still time for farmers to cover their profit margins, though.
A lot of these fields are coming in below what many farmers expected back in the beginning of the season. So I think a lot of these farmers are going to be out there. They've already sold, they've got their hedge to arrives on. They need to go back out in those fields right now and get a more accurate check of what they've got for yields.
You heard any stories of people over 100% sold yet? No, that's good.
But they may be.
Right. Reporting from West Central Indiana, I'm Greg Vincent.
Thanks, Greg. Now to the Western Tour. In South Dakota, corn yield is down about 2% from last year, but they're still encouraged by what they see. The Scouts on the western leg of the tour says South Dakota soybean pod counts are down about 12%, but they say that crop could still finish strong. In Nebraska, they said the ear count is a factor.
I think the thing that's going to be the issue here in Nebraska is the ear count. On my route, and it's just one route, but we are off about 2%, 3% on ear counts from last year, and just a touch below the 3-year average. So we might be looking at some problems on the ear count. There's just two things to say about the Nebraska bean crop. No disease and no bugs. That right there, with a little bit of water at this time of the year, is a perfect recipe to put together a good bean crop. That's why Nebraska is such a good bean state. These guys really know what they're doing, and they've got a disease-free crop. Reporting from the western leg of the Pro Farmer Midwest Crop Tour, I'm Chip Flory.
We'll have daily coverage of the 2011 Pro Farmer Crop Tour, both online and on air. Be sure to get regular updates from our partners at agweb.com. For those fans of Twitter, many of the Scouts are sending tweets on crop conditions and yields. You can catch their comments on the special Crop Tour section on AgWeb.